This is Marc Zammit, and you are listening to Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz. Biz, 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 Biz. See that echo?
It did. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners, wherever you may be in the world right now. This is Hellblazer Biz with yours truly, Chris Gordon. Today, I am proud to bring to you a chat with a friend of mine who I first had on my show pretty much a year ago today. Since then, he has gone from height to height and strength to strength. I had the pleasure of meeting him in March this year at Sci-Fi Weekender at the premiere of the film that he was in, Pandorica. And also, he's been in Knights of the Damned. He's coming up into the British version of Band of Brothers, Pegasus Bridge, which will be out next year, as well as many other projects. I am proud to bring back my friend, Marc Zammit. Good evening, Marc.
Hey, long time.
I know. It's almost a year to the day since
What
you
is it
first
now? It's
came
like
on.
the 11th.
It's the 11th,
So
11th of November.
12 days I would
Yeah,
have
20.
been speaking to you a year ago,
It
right?
was, yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
So it goes actually quite fast. I don't know what's happened to that year. It's just,
It's shot by. I wouldn't have thought it was a year.
it's probably the farther, because I swear to God, I felt like I was 27 about 5 weeks ago, and for some reason I'm 28, and it's like it's half a year already. I'm like, what's happened? Where's that even gone?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, when we spoke, I was dreading my 40th, and I'm 41 in 4 weeks.
Mate, I thought you was 21. When I swear you said it was your 21st birthday when we met.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, 21 plus 19 years of experience.
Amazing.
Oh God, yeah. So it would be nearly a year. And I say, what a difference a year makes.
No, I think when did you actually come to Sci-Fi? Well, when was Sci-Fi Weekend? Because that's when we met up as
It
well,
was,
didn't we?
yeah. That's one of my things I was going to say. And obviously, I had the honour of attending the premiere with you and the rest of the cast in March for Pandorica.
Yeah. Oh,
March.
mate, it was awesome, right?
It was brilliant.
Just what was awesome for me was the beer. I think that's what I mean. What was awesome? I was like, it was awesome because of the beer. And no, that was good to obviously meet you and stuff, because obviously we had the interview before on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then to meet you afterwards, and it's because I know that you was obviously quite. I don't know if you was nervous, maybe you was, but because you just come on your own because you was meant to come with your son or something, wasn't
Yeah, that's right. So I ended
Yeah.
up just being on my own. So I just felt like I was a hanger-on because you guys.
No, you definitely
I
not.
know it wasn't the feat. I know it wasn't what you guys thought, but I just had that feeling. It's like, oh, I'm just a hanger-on here. I'm just hanging around you guys for no reason.
Mate, but as soon as to be fair, as soon as you come though, everyone just gave you so much love.
Oh,
We
I
just,
know. I just
I
couldn't
think I just
believe
come
it.
up to you and give you the biggest hug. I was like, "Hey, Chris, it's me."
I know, yeah. I was standing out.
Oh man, I wasn't drunk at that point as well. That's me sober.
Yeah, it was cool because I stood outside and I was queuing, obviously coming in, waiting to go in, and you had the VIP guys going into the hall and everything. So I was just stood in the queue because I was just waiting my turn to come in, and I thought I'll try and find you guys after the film. I'll come and find you guys, and then Luke walked by. So I was like, "Hey Luke, how you doing?" He's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" Shook my hand, and he walked in. So I was like, "Right, okay, cool. I'll wait." And as I walked through the door, Luke was on the inside of the door, waiting for me to guide me to where you guys were and introduce me and set me down.
Amazing.
I was
No
like,
way.
wow.
Luke, do you know what? I absolutely love Luke.
Such a nice bloke as well, isn't he?
He's such a nice guy. He seriously is like. We get on like a house on fire. As soon as we meet, we just laugh. It's just constant laugh, and I think we just, I've got a lot of time for Luke, and we've just had, I respect him so much because he's not just like a nice guy. He's a very talented actor as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when we was on set working together, the things that he was kind of doing for me, he knew how I worked and I knew how he worked, and he could just see me with a scene going, "You hate me" in this scene. Like he would say, "You hate me," but he would talk to me like a third person. But, he really kind of he goes out his way for everyone to bring out the best in everyone, and I admire that about him because not a lot of people would do that, but he does, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah, especially on a film set, it's rare to have that kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just standing in, if you was doing your scene, he would stand in, so you got your eye line. He would stand there, whether it's 100 takes or one take. He would stand there and he would do it. And I think there's a lot of respect for an actor that does do that because they're not just thinking about their performance, they're thinking about your performance as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want the best out of you, and not just themselves. And I admire that because that's what I'm all about, teamwork. And
Yeah.
Luke is definitely a team player, so
Oh
I
yeah.
really take my hat off to him.
Yeah, well, I can't sing his praises or any of your praises enough anyway from being treated the way you treated me that day. So,
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to give you a wedgie and
yeah, I
stop
know,
one of your heads.
yeah, and shove me head down the toilet.
Flush your head down
Yeah,
slowly. Push you in front of the water and
yeah. You said the greeting was you gave the hug before the beer. After you and Luke had the beer, that was it. They went to hell.
brilliant.
I was going to say what you said there about the teamwork as well and acting. I had the pleasure of chatting to Erin, who's on my show, and she's just done a film called Cell with Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack.
Oh, nice.
And she said, completely surprising to me, because, you look at those two guys and you're like, whoa. But she said Samuel L. Jackson, there's one scene where her character, her brother's, I'm not spoiling it, her brother's dying or dead, and he's leaned up against a tree. And she just said, totally out of character. She went back to him. It wasn't in the plot. It was just an ad lib thing. She went back to try and see her brother, and she said Samuel Jackson was just so switched on, and in the moment, like you say, Luke is where you guys are when you're focused. So in the moment, he just turned round and grabbed her and said, "Don't do it, don't do it." And he was in her head. He knew exactly what she was going to do.
No, do you know? And I think that's a skill to have. It's such a skill to have because. There's. I'm not gonna say like every actor is like this because everyone acts in their own way and has their own strengths and their weaknesses. But when you're acting and you're in that zone, I think it's the small things that make your performance authentic. It's like Tom Hanks, a great example. Like there's a scene that I really admire what he does when it's in Bridge of Spies and. He's sitting there at this bar with this guy at a table and they're just both casually having a chat and he's sitting there and it's something you would do naturally, just kind of putting your hand in a nut jar, eating the nuts while he's talking.
Yeah.
And as he goes to walk off, he walks back to the table, not to talk to the guy, but to pick up more nuts. He picks up 3 or 4 nuts, puts it in his mouth, and then he goes, "Yeah, see you later." And I thought that was so powerful because that's not in this. You could tell that's not in the script. That's something that Tom Hanks has naturally done himself and. Authentic performances like that stand out, and I'm really a really big fan of that kind of stuff. When people create that small touch of realness to a character. So, and like Samuel Jackson, I absolutely love Samuel Jackson.
God, he's brilliant.
I think he's great, and he seems like a very funny person in general. But he seems like a guy that is very screwed on. Like if you watch a lot of his films, he's always got them kind of elements where he's touching in and touching out.
Definitely. I mean, that's what she said. She said, because she was in a couple of scenes with him, but she just said he was so focused. The minute he came on set, it was just like he was the most professional person. He knew exactly what everyone was doing. He knew where things were going. And like you say, but he'd throw his own little bits in. He'd help out. He'd encourage everybody else as well.
Yeah.
And like you say, she said he was a proper team player, which is a great thing.
And that's it. You all got to be a team player. You gotta make other people shine as much as yourself. And you gotta work together and make it all come together because at the end of the day it's a film, and that's what a film is. But I think it's not even just thinking about it being a team player. It should just be there naturally, because actors authentically should be telling the story. And when you're zoned in, I suppose as an actor in general, like when I'm zoned into my characters and stuff, you don't even realize what you do. You just do it. Because you're in that, like you said, you're in that moment, you're in that zone.
Yeah.
So it's as long as you know what everything's happening, what's going on, what's people's doing, where the camera is, and as long as you know everything like that, and you're in that zone, you'd be surprised what the character will do. You just never know. Like I have this conversation with a lot of actors, and you just never know what your character can do, and you might surprise yourself. And I think that's a nice thing.
Yeah, definitely. It does enhance everyone's performance as well, and it comes across on the screen to people who are watching. Definitely, it really does. So, talking about Pandorica, obviously, when we last spoke, it was in pre-production. Now it's a worldwide release now. So how and obviously, we chatted about the world premiere at Pwllheli we went to. How did it feel seeing yourself on the big screen and then seeing the positive response? Because it was an amazing response to the film.
Do you know what? I'll be very honest to you. I hate seeing myself on the screen. I really do. And I think a lot of actors like that because we are our own worst critics.
Yeah.
And I've kind of got to the point where I don't like watching myself, but I watch myself. I have to watch myself.
Hmm.
Not because I want to sit there and go, yeah, look, that's me on a film.
You look to see what you can
More,
improve on,
yeah, I
can't
more
you?
kind of look at it and think, what could I have done better?
Hmm.
Because if I sit there and go, oh, I don't want to watch it because I don't want to be my worst own critic. If I don't do that, I'm not going to learn how to develop within myself how I can improve in myself.
Yeah,
So when I
exactly.
watch, believe it or not, when I'm watching Pandorica, I'm obviously sitting there, I'm watching people's reactions. I'm thinking, right, did I get that part right? And I think that's
Hmm.
something Hitchcock used to do. He used to stand outside the room and he used to listen in to see when people were scared at the right
Yeah.
time. And that's pretty much what I kind of done. So I kind of took that influence on Hitchcock. I was like, okay, let's see if people get the reaction that I'm trying to portray in my performance.
Hmm.
Um, so seeing myself on the screen, it's a weird feeling, and it's nice to know that through all the hard work that you do as an actor, because a lot of people do not see the struggle,
Yeah.
they only see the success, and to see where I've been and how much I've developed, and to know that I'm in Pandorica, what's a great film with a great cast and crew. I'm sitting there thinking, right, what could I have done better with that character? And I try and portray like what would I do differently. So next time I do have a similar role, or I do end up in that situation again, I know what I could do to probably develop more, whether it's diction, whether it's accent, whether it's body control.
Hmm.
There's quite a few reviews that I read, whether it was bad or good.
Yeah.
I'm going to take notice of the bad ones as much as I'm going to take much as the good ones.
Well,
There's a
yeah,
lot of
'cause-
people saying they wish the characters had a bit more like movement, because they felt sometimes it was a bit stiff. But some people loved that, some people didn't.
yeah.
Some people. So I was thinking, okay, maybe next time the people that didn't like my performance, maybe I can try and impress them in my next performance by giving them what they want and adding that in. Rather than sitting there going,
Hmm.
oh, you don't like my film, whatever. I'm going to sit there and go, no, actually, do you know what? I'm going to listen to you, and hopefully next time you watch me, I'm going to do something different for you. And if you don't like that, then I'll work on the next thing what I can do.
Yeah.
Because it's I think it's a nice thing to kind of just is a weird feeling. But when you get that, like you said, when you get the good response that you do, where everyone claps, and the reviews that we got, I got the guys
Hmm.
from Starburst come up to me straight away and they just shook my hand,
Yeah.
and that was just like, Mark, what a great performer you are, and
Hmm.
everyone on the film, and what a great film. And there's a lot of praise, and then obviously afterwards, you was there, you saw it with your own eyes.
Oh
We
God, yeah.
had, yeah, like we had so many people kind of. There's I think over 1,000 people, or about 1,000 people in that room.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and me and Jade was sitting there, with Luke obviously as well, and Laura, and we was all just sitting there like, we was signing posters and people
Hmm.
coming up to us, and we tried to commit as much time as we could for every single person that come up to us. I'm a massive fan of doing that. I like, and obviously the whole crew and cast are as well.
Yeah.
Where just give our time, if it's 5 minutes, if it's 2 minutes, even if it's 10, just to talk to these people that have come out of their way to see this film, to
Hmm.
watch us for 90 minutes. I can give you 10 minutes. I want to give you more if I can, like
Yeah.
every single person and just hearing their opinions, what they thought of the film, and and it was quite shocking, because I didn't expect that response, and we got such a nice response, and I'm flattered, and I don't want to obviously get excited and thinking, and like, oh wow, yeah, like it's amazing or whatever, because I
Hmm.
want to stay humble about it, but
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. I think that's the best word that I can say. I'm grateful for the response. I'm grateful for the criticism, because it
Hmm.
makes me want to develop more
Yeah.
in my performances, and obviously as an actor. So I'm grateful for whatever people say, whatever they share with me.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah,
That's fair enough, and yeah, I'll vouch for that. I mean, I was there the whole day. I saw just how much people did come to the desk, and I mean, I think it was Laura as well. She burst into tears. I think she was just so shocked at one point because some people walked by and they're just like, "Oh my God, that's her from the film." And like the same with you guys, it was like, "Oh my God, they all are." I was listening to people walking by and going, "Oh my God, that's them from Pandorica!" Wow, and they just rushed towards you then.
yeah,
And
it
you could
was.
see. I mean, I was stood there watching you guys, watching the interactions between you all, and it was just, with everyone who came in, and there wasn't one person who went away sort of disappointed or
Yeah,
angry. They all came away with big smiles on their faces because they got the chance to
yeah,
chat to you and get to know you a bit and discuss the ideas of the film and everything.
exactly. Yeah, and and that I think that's so important, because I'm a massive fan of my fans or massive fan of my supporters, whatever you want to call them. I call them supporters because they're there all the way with you.
Yeah.
I like, and I think, it's so important to kind of show that interaction. And even though it can be